Please welcome Mr. Jason Kenny.
Thank you very much. Venerable Panya Vamsa, welcome to Canada. It's an honor to have you with us. We in the Government of Canada, the people of Canada, of all backgrounds, join with you and the Burmese people in expressing our sincere condolences and the assurance of our prayers for the hundreds of thousands of tragedy. I know that all members of the Canadian House of Commons and Senate from all parties, as I said, Canadians of all backgrounds, have been deeply moved and troubled by the images that we have seen, and stupefied by the lack of concern or action by the military junta in Burma. I can tell you that within hours of the terrible disaster having struck Burma, Cyclone Nargis, the Prime Minister immediately ordered the Government of Canada to offer all possible technical, material, and humanitarian assistance that we could provide. And indeed, Canada has offered the services of our military's disaster assistance response team and other emergency relief units. And we are very saddened that the regime in Burma has refused to call upon these relief workers from Canada and indeed from the rest of the international community. That is why our ambassador at the United Nations, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and our diplomats internationally have been calling for an emergency debate and resolution at the United Nations Security Council to press the Burmese regime for immediate access to the affected areas of international relief workers. We call upon the Burmese regime to realize that this is not about their position in power. This is not about the politics of Burma. This is about the lives of innocent men and women who should not be sacrificed to the political interests of the regime. I can tell you that our Minister of Foreign Affairs has spoken with the Chinese Foreign Minister, the French Foreign Minister, the Thai Foreign Minister, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the Secretary of State of the United States, and other major international representatives to seek support and coordinate an international diplomatic movement focused through the United Nations Security Council for access for relief workers so they can be given visas to move to the affected areas and provide immediate assistance. And we continue to stand by with those teams willing to offer their help immediately. I can report to you that yesterday the Canadian forces C-17 landed in Thailand carrying some 50 tons of supplies, 2,000 temporary shelter kits that can provide shelter to some 10,000 citizens. We understand those are now being delivered into Burma by the International Front of the Red Cross. We have also, of course, participated in the funding of some $20 million through the United Nations Central Emergency Response Fund to the victims of the cyclone. Canada is the 5th largest contributor to that fund in the world. We contribute some $40 million. We've also made a direct contribution of 10% of the worldwide request from the International Fund for the Red Cross. And as you know, on Wednesday, the government announced that we will match, the Government of Canada will match dollar for dollar all contributions to registered Canadian charities devoted to Burma cyclone relief. This is a very significant incentive for all Canadians to contribute to Canadian charities that will provide funds for cyclone relief, and we hope that Canadians will respond in kind. This could be, there is no limit on the amount that the government through the Canadian International Development Agency will provide on matching fund basis. So if Canadians are generous, this could result in a very substantial additional monetary assistance for the victims of the cyclone. But let me say that what we see in the response of the Burmese junta is a kind of inhumanity which is to be condemned. And it is consistent with the lack of respect for human dignity and fundamental human rights that we have seen in the Burmese regime for simply too long. Disrespect for the rights of minorities, disrespect for basic political, civil, economic, and human rights. And that is why Canada has imposed the toughest economic sanctions on the Burmese regime of any country in the world. It is why we made the important symbolic gesture of granting recently honorary citizenship to Nobel Peace Prize laureate and the rightful leader of the Burmese people, Aung San Suu Kyi. It is also why we recently invited Burmese Prime Minister in exile, Sen Win, to Ottawa to receive the honorary citizenship for his cousin, Aung San Suu Kyi. It is why we sponsored a major international last March, and it is why we will continue to do everything we can, all Canadians, to stand by the Burmese people in their hour of need. And so, especially with the monks who are here present, we all join our prayers with theirs, that the people of Burma will be saved, those who are facing terrible injuries, homelessness, disease will be saved, and that indeed Burma itself will be saved from this brutal and inhumane dictatorship. God bless the people of Burma.